Hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Good. You know, not all TikTokers are millennials who look like football players and soccer players with abs of steel and maybe 1 million followers. Here's a guy who's got abs in his brain and has over 3.8 million followers on TikTok. I'm talking about the Chem teacher Phil Cook. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great. Thanks for that wonderful intro.
Now, Phil, what does STEM stand for and why is it becoming increasingly important for students?
So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the reason why it matters and why you probably hear about it so frequently is because when you think about kids and the jobs that they're going to occupy later in life, the vast majority are going to be in STEM-related fields. And what that means is we need to be giving kids equal access to STEM-related activities early on in life so that we help to foster their curiosity, develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills that they'll need to take those positions later on.
Now, what makes these pens ideal for tools for STEM learning?
They're really good pens, first of all, but also they're like super nerdy science pens. And the reason why they're super nerdy is because they use a special ink. It's a thermosensitive erasable ink. All that means is heat causes the ink to erase. That opens up for a world of experiments that you can do with these pens in the science classroom or even at home that can help to engage and get kids to be curious about how something as simple as a pen actually works. How do you make an erasable pen? Well, how could we use heat to make that ink erasable? These are great questions that you might not think can come about from just looking at a $1 pen.
Now, what makes STEM.org authenticated products different?
So products that are authenticated by STEM.org have to have a scientific background to them, and that's where pilot friction pens come into play. Pilot friction pens are the only authenticated pen by STEM.org. And it's easy to see why. I mean, there's so much science you can do with the ink pen. Aside from writing a report, you can do science on convection. You can look at how microwaves work. You can look at how color changes work and reversible reactions. That is what sets an accredited product away from a non-accredited product.
Now, what is the Million Degrees for Good challenge?
So the Friction for Good challenge is another way that Pilot is looking to help make STEM accessible to all. So there's two main ways that you can participate in the Friction for Good challenge. The first is by buying color stick packs, 10 packs of the color sticks. They look like this, and you can get them at Walmart and Target in 10 packs. If you go on Amazon, look for the 16 pack. 25% of the profits from those sales between now and November 8th are going to be donated to Girls Who Code. Now, the second way that you can participate is through actually creating content of your own and adding a hashtag. So let's say you make a really cool video where you show how the ink actually erases using different forms of heat, for example. You put it on Instagram or you put it on TikTok. Add the hashtag Friction for Good. That's Frixion for good. And for every post, every in-feed post on Instagram and TikTok between now and November 8th, Pilot is going to donate $5 up to $60,000 to Girls Who Code. It's two great ways where you can kind of have an impact on STEM education in your community through some simple acts.
All right, Phil, how did you become Chem teacher Phil?
Purely by happenstance. I was doing demonstrations like I normally do in chemistry class, and a girl said, "You should put that on TikTok." And I said, "I have no idea what TikTok is." She showed me, we created an account. I had her film the demonstration, we posted it, and then it kind of blew up from there. And I saw how that one post broadened my audience to a much broader audience of learners, which for me was really exciting. To see people excited about learning science, being curious about science. You can't ask for anything more from social media. And that's how I continue to use it.
So what are you trying to achieve through social media?
My main goals are always pretty simple. I want people to learn something, and I want them to be more curious about the world around them. So every video I create, there's a takeaway, a little nugget of science knowledge, and something that helps you be a little bit more curious about the world around you. That's my goals.
Phil, I wish we could channel that to Washington, D.C. Where can our viewers go for more information?
All right, so I'm not sure how I can help the DC area. Aside from this, if you're in the DC area, go to frictionstem.com, Frixion stem.com, and you'll find two things there that I think are really, really worth mentioning. There's lesson plans there if you're a teacher and you want to try this with your students in class using these friction pens. There's K through 12 grade level appropriate lesson plans and videos that accompany them. And you can also learn more about the Friction for Good Challenge, which just benefits STEM access education for all.
I love the fact that there's a donation for girls who code. I really like that.
Yeah, it's great. They're really doing a lot to make
Yeah.
sure that STEM is equitable and accessible to all.
We were talking with Phil Cook, 3.8 million. Wow. Phil, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Morning Blend.
Thanks for having me.